Hey guys, this is Chesney Hawks here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Yes, everybody, Russ on the West End Network. Hope you are all safe and well. So another episode of My Hammers 11. They're like buses. You wait for one to come and then two come along within a week. But this one is a different one. And actually, this one is a fan My Hammers 11, but it's one that's been requested quite a lot. I get a lot of DMs, as the kids say. A lot of people sliding into my DMs asking me to interview this man. A man who has, more air miles than Judith Chalmers, it seems. He has, he's according to his Facebook, he's probably watched more movies than Barry Norman and more rounds of golf than Jack Nicklaus. It is the man who's simply known as Doddsy. There he is.
Hello, Russ. How are you?
Welcome.
Thank you. Very
Welcome.
nice intro. Very nice intro. And I think my wife could concur with everything you said.
Exactly. Indeed. And everything is true. Everything's true.
Everything's
How
true.
are we? You've just had your tooth out. It's cost you a lot of money, but...
Yeah, but I'm alive. It's like I say, it hasn't given me quite as much pain as West Ham has over the 40 plus years I've been following them, but it cost me nearly as much.
It did, yes. Well, I was going to say, a lot of people do message me and go, Doddsy's like, he's there, he's everywhere. Richard Dodds. And it does seem, we all love your little videos on Twitter, walking through the countryside, just about to go away, to Southampton or wherever we're playing. And it's I think you're the envy of many people, Richard, to be honest.
And I'd like to say I'm on my own, but there's about 3,000 plus more that do it and probably do more miles than me that just don't get the airtime and everything. So there's a lot of them out there that do some silly stuff to watch our beloved West Ham. Even maybe go to Germany just to take in the sights when we're not got any tickets as well. So well done to those people.
I know that, yes, fully aware of those people as well. The likes of John Ratomski and stuff like that, and Martin. They seem to be all over the bloody. But even when we got knocked out, they still went to Sevilla to watch the final.
Yeah. It's some real loyalty out there, some real Looney Tunes out there. So I kind of just fit in alongside them. Yeah,
but it's as I said, it's always fun. I always like your little sort of pre-match like preview. It's always good fun because it's succinct. You don't get involved with anything. It's just like, that's me. I'm done,
and I'm gone and everything. So yes,
it's all good. And last season, apart from the European sort of escapades, wasn't a great season if you don't take the 14th in the league or whatever. But this season, 6th. We're doing all right. We're doing all right, aren't we?
Yeah, we're doing all right. And as everyone says, the performances aren't always there. But you look at the table and you go, well, you're 6th. And we're not after Christmas in a relegation battle. And that's where we've been through most of my time of following West Ham and everything, yo-yo up and down, relegation battles, always worried. You get to about, sometimes you're lucky March and you're not in a relegation battle. But yeah, 6th, and I'll take that. And with Bournemouth coming up and with some of these new players coming in as well, things are looking good.
It is, and it's people returning from injury and AFCON duty and stuff like that. Obviously, you won't have again until probably towards the end. I think they're almost favourites to win the whole thing. But you're right. It's reasons to be cheered. It's funny how we sort of can be so down in the dumps in the space of like a week. We're like, I'm excited about Calvin Phillips, excited about Kudus coming home, Paqueta back, Bright, as you said, we've got a couple of really good games coming up, home games. It's funny how it changes at West Ham psyche so quickly.
I think that's what is the West Ham way. That is the West Ham way. In a nutshell, it is, because you just know sometime between now and the end of the season, something's going to happen, but hopefully not too bad and everything. So, but yeah, it's looking good at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It is looking good at the moment, and as I said, it's potentially. I said obviously Liverpool getting through to the Carabao Cup final. They're probably not going along to win that now. Hopefully, not Chelsea. So that helps us out, in our
position.
Europe again. So dust down the passport again. Doddsy,
absolutely, yes. I've been gutted. I was nearly tempted. Some of my friends go to Italy to watch Lazio and teams like that, and when I thought we weren't going to get through to the Conference League final and obviously win it, I was like, I fancy a few of those trips. I'll come over with you, because it is a bug, and once you get addicted to it, and I do understand people's feelings about it, but you get to meet some real characters, some real friends for life and everything like that. And like I say, I'm sure all fans are the same in Europe. I'm sure they all have brilliant times and everything, but we do seem to have a good time, and just so many laughs and giggles and everything like that on the way back. So course, the football gets in the way sometimes.
That's
But
the
hey,
trouble, isn't it?
yeah,
It can ruin a lovely weekend away.
exactly. So, but yeah, it's been good.
No, it's good. It's good fun. And as I said, I think it's the fact with these 3 European sort of trips in a row, so to speak. That's sort of a thank you, I think, to the fans. This is guys like yourselves and thousands others have traveled the breadth of the country at God knows what times. I mean, as I said, we see you what time you set up, and by the time you're going, it's like people are just getting out of bed, and it's like it's almost worth it, isn't it? Having those European weeks away.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny when we played Bristol the other week, and on the other side, just watching everyone going, "I can't believe all that rubbish," and 4 hours to get home. And I was thinking after 45 minutes, I was like, "I know you lot feel normally now." So,
Exactly.
but yeah, people travel from all over the place. From Nottingham down, and even from Scotland, isn't it? They come down, so they follow the team. Even from abroad, quite a few people. So we know quite a few of the Anderlecht Hammers now from when we were out there. Who they come over and back and forth. So it's amazing
crazy.
what people do. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. We have obviously the Scandinavian hammers and even some of the Irish hammers. They get up at silly o'clock to fly over from Belfast or whatnot, and I usually bump into them because they're usually milling around the stadium when I get in. So yeah, it really surprised me so much so that it's like I was talking to someone the other day about sort of the COVID years, and obviously I was at the COVID watching the games at the stadium during the COVID years, and I'd be home in 20 minutes. And it really pissed me off when everyone came back. And it's like, because it's like my car park was like the concourse. It was like so much fun. Obviously, there was a terrible illness, and a lot of people were like, that. But I got home early, which was nice for a change.
No stop go signs on those days.
No stop go. Just my own self-imposed. just feel some togetherness. But how long does it take you from on an average day, like if you was playing, I don't know, a normal game, from your house to
so a normal game, I'll go up the 303, press Stonehenge and everything like that. That'll take me to get to Kew Gardens where we park. That'll take me about 2.5, 3 hours. Then it's an hour and 10 minutes across to Hackney Wick, and then about a 20-minute walk in. So I suppose all in all, give or take 4.5 hours to get there for a home game and everything. So yeah, it's not too bad because I did used to live at the bottom end of Cornwall, and I used to travel up to there. So yeah,
wow.
I actually did Middlesbrough there and back from Cornwall in a day watching the game, and surprise, we lost 1-0. surprise. And I think it was the game where Julian Dix actually put who was that Brazilian? The bloke kept on turning Julian inside out, so Julian in the end just put him in the top of the stand. Juninho, just put him in the stands in the end. So Julian had enough, so that was a highlight, and we loved it. So, but yeah, long way.
It's a long way, man. It's a long way, as you said, for a side to then lose as well. It's a trudge home, isn't it? It's really it is really bad. But obviously, all those hours, all those air miles, all those all those miles of diesel. Why West Ham?
Well, it's funny, in the week that we played Sheffield United and everything. So I was born in Sheffield. And I tell this to everyone. My uncle took me to West Ham Sheffield Wednesday, and Sheffield Wednesday were awful. So I thought, well, I'm going to support this West Ham team because they seem okay. And I was about 6 at the time. And I didn't live in Sheffield for long. I was born there, left quite early down towards the southwest and everything. But my uncle took me there. So I started to support West Ham because I just thought, well, they're better than Sheffield Wednesday. I'll go. And the other reason I supported them was because down our way, everyone supported the so-called big teams then, the Man Uniteds and stuff. So there wasn't many West Ham down that way. Turns out, when you look into it now with social media, there are thousands of West Ham fans. So lots of people like me who grew up. And like I say, I have memories. I obviously didn't go to the 75 and the 80 because, like I say, I'd have been 14, 15 or 10. But I remember watching it on the telly as well. So that was my team. So I think that built me into it, because the good old days of the FA Cup, when West Ham were in 75 and 80 and obviously beating Arsenal and everything, that just made you grow and grow because it's those games that hook you all the time, isn't it? So yeah, that's it. It's funny going to Sheffield because my granddad, who supported Sheffield Wednesday, would not walk past Sheffield United's ground, so he would take a 25-minute detour to get past it because he hated them that much. So I now have 2 reasons to hate Sheffield United.
So, no, it's true. Yeah. When I was at Loughborough, my housemate at Loughborough, Matt, he's a Wednesday fan, and so he always used to come with me. Because obviously we were at Loughborough, so it's sort of halfway to Sheffield. So he'd come with me to the Sheffield United games and stand in the away end and not give a shit because it was like, come on, bring it on. And actually, it's funny. I haven't spoken to him for ages. And then we was in Dubai, and I was chatting to some bloke at the bar, just like randomly having a conversation. So I think I must have had a West Ham shirt or something. And we talk about football. And yeah. So you know, you who do you support? No, I play. Who do you play for? And I've just been the playoff final. I played for Sheffield Wednesday, and he was like the striker, and I was like, oh my god, and that was like well impressed.
Yeah, get my friend on the line.
So funny. Same place that I bumped into Potsy. Anyway.
Oh right, yes.
Potsy was there as well, bless him. Still hasn't returned my call, but I'll see him on Friday because the under 21s are playing at Rush Green. So he better respond, otherwise I'm not going to play good music. And just tempt him with Aquagirl by Barbie by Aquagirl or something like that. Can you imagine? Yeah, exactly. He'd love that. So obviously, have you ever sat down and worked out how many miles you've travelled, or it must be tens of thousands, must be hundreds of thousands of miles you've done for West Ham?
Yeah, I've never sat down and worked out. There is an app that I downloaded, but I've never used it, where you can track once you're at the stadium where you've come from and all that stuff. But yeah, it will be thousands. Even during the World Cup break, I went to the pre-season or the mid-season friendlies. I did stand there at Cambridge and think, when it was absolutely pissing down with rain, thinking, why did I? And I never got done for speeding on the way back, but I thought the cameras went off, so it made it even worse. You're like, why am I bothering? Why?
I've only been done once by the camera, and that was, and I still, it's sort of like, it's one of those really annoying ones, but actually, I had a genuine reason. It's like my foot was like falling off a bouncy castle in the middle of Chelmsford. I didn't know where the fuck I was.
Yeah.
I had to go to hospital with her, but anyway, and then I had to do the old, what's it called? The old driver awareness.
Yeah, driver awareness course. Yeah.
God, but online, oh my god, it was like Donut City. Honestly, like it was like basically all people, like my mother-in-law type age, like trying to work on Zoom. It's like,
that's it. Turn it off.
Still on mute. You're on mute.
Someone coming in the background, walking out. Yeah.
Are you on your own? Yes. No, you're clearly not on your own, because some bloke has literally walked past the screen and given you the answers.
That's where it's good. It's good now. So I've known these lads for ages, but we tend to travel up now in a minibus that we've bought ourselves. So there's about 14 of us that have bought into this real old rickety. We call it Dawson because it's old and reliable, but it just keeps going. So we call it Dawson and everything. But that's great. So one person drives who's quite happy to drive all the time, and we can just chill out and not worry about it.
Brilliant. What a great idea. That's such a good idea, isn't it? You think about it, there's a group of you. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, saves money. And like I say, and plus, as we always said, great journey up, shit football, great journey back. Yeah. So you get good company and everything. So
and it doesn't batter your car.
All that absolutely.
What a clever idea. Well done. Well done.
It's called being tight. It's called being tight, Ross.
It's frugal. There's a difference. Frugal. My wife would say tight, but I'd say frugal. But yeah. So obviously obviously you remember your first game. Obviously at Sheffield, against Sheffield. That's brilliant. That's so funny. Do you remember your first time at Upton Park then?
I do. Now, I can't tell you what the team was, but I can describe to you my first experience at Upton Park. And that was obviously coming out of Upton Park Station and being the typical 15-year-old who had blagged his mum that he was going to his mate's place and everything. And I managed to get up to London all the way from Cornwall. And I'd taken a bag with me and everything like that. Well, of course, you're going to a football game at Upton Park with a bag. Where do you put the bag? So I came out of the station, through a left. And do you remember the church that used to be near the away end, the little alleyway?
Yeah.
So I hopped over that little fence, hid my bag, thinking that's never going to be there when I come back. And when I came back, it was there, and went into the ground. And I used to always stand in the South Bank. That's where I always was, and got some real good memories. Been arrested a couple of times for forming the circle like we used to do and everything like that. So back in not for doing anything wrong, just where the police just used to come in and pick anybody out. Didn't matter who it was. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. But apart from that, I've had a clean bill of health for the last 20, 25 years as a good citizen. But yeah, that was my first game. I remember it, going down that back alley in the bus station, and my ritual with my daughter, who lives in Doha now, since she doesn't go anymore. We used to go all the time was to always go to the burger fan, the burger shop down at the left-hand corner. Loved it. I mean, whether they taste any good, to me they did. Everyone I tried to convince, I said, look, have one of these. They're like, yeah, not too. I love them. But yeah, Humdinger, Hat Trick, Bonzo, wasn't it? And Terminator.
It was like a culinary like masterclass. It was like, I remember the first time having a burger in a French stick.
Yeah,
in
that's
a baguette.
right. Yeah.
It's like, this is like, it's like Heston Blumenthal now, it was amazing. I was like, what is this? And it was like, oh yeah, I actually convinced my mate. So I used to go with my granddad, and we used to sit. Well, firstly we used to sit in the East Stand, and then we sat in the Centenary Upper, like literally in the family for like the rest of our time before he passed them. We used to go to the burger van, or the little shop, wherever he's got the hut.
Yeah.
And my mate came along one day, and he asked, and he said he was a vegetarian, and he was like, well, "You got any vegetarian options?" And she just put out a bowl of fruit, and she went, "You can have one of them if you want." He went, "No, I'll have a burger." So I sort of changed him. And she did say, "You can have some fruit, or I can give you a bun."
A little bit of bun with lettuce in. That's what the normal used to be, isn't it?
Yellow cheese on it, but yeah. I used to love that. And I was talking to some guy the other day about it, and it's like just walking down Green Street and just that whole, like, so many people, and just that parade of horse shit down the middle of the Green Street. And it's like, nowadays, I can't. My little dog, who's like that big, I have to pick up that poo, otherwise I get £100.
£100 fine. That's the thing, wasn't it? That's the bit where, although I'm pretty cool with the move because of the infrastructure for getting us in and out of the stadium from Hackney Wick, it works for me. But I totally get the people like Nigel Khan and people like that who go, I miss it. Of course, I miss it and everything like that. Walking down Green Street, like I say, Gary from Olas, who I was good friends with, all the £2 sweets that my daughter used to go over to the bags, pick a 4 for 2 or whatever it was and everything like that. Gas pennant and all the T-shirts. Those are the bits you do miss that they just can't conjure it back up again because they were brilliant. They'd have a different T-shirt every week, wouldn't they, based on something that had happened in the game before and stuff. The burger van, sweets, all the stalls. I absolutely get it. The pubs I'm not too sure about because basically just went in there and everyone threw beer over you.
Yeah, no, you get a pint. It's like you just exactly. You come out drenched and stinking of smoke. It's a funny thing. I mean, I was actually talking to Anton about it today because he was talking about T-shirts and he said his mum let him have a T-shirt. It must have been one of Kaz's T-shirts and it was Julian Dix like stamping on someone, and it was like his mum let him have that one. He couldn't believe it, It's like, but it was an experience, wasn't it? And I think I'm the same as you. The infrastructure wise, it's like I think sometimes we forget if that, particularly like those of us who were to get the train in, if that sort of district line was down, you'd have to then turn around, walk all the way back, past the ground, all the way to Barking, or walk to Stratford, and it was raining. As I said, I think the first time I went, for London Stadium, I went 6 different ways the first 6 games because of all the train strikes and things. But yeah, I totally get it. But I think that's, unfortunately, that was a bygone age really now, where you have the £2 sweets guys and stuff like that. Unfortunately, but I mean, unfortunately, as I said, it's the likes of hopefully the little Doddsy grandkids and my daughter, and it's for them now in terms of the stadium, and it's horrible to think of it like that, but it is.
That's the way it is. I'm afraid that is the way it is.
It is the way it is, unfortunately. But it's I do and bless it, the old girl was falling apart from we obviously working there. It was bless it. They never
I always laugh because the way they describe the Man United ground now that it's falling apart and they haven't invested, I thought, well, that was Upton Park for years and everything. That's what we loved about it. It would be you'd go down for a pint at half time, not a chance of getting one. All crammed in the corner and everything like that, and rain pouring through and everything. That's what makes stadiums what they are sometimes, isn't it? So.
It is. It's that sort of old. It's the nature. I think it's because it's what you grew up with. So it's like if you're actually, and so most people are change adverse anyway. So it's like they like familiarity, particularly football. We don't like when a player leaves. It's sort of we all feel a little bit unsettled. So when like number 41 left, he was a bit unsettled about how it's all going to work, and we're like, calm down a bit now. And and I think that was the same there. You knew where he said you knew the place to get a pint and because you've been doing it for 40 years there or whatever. So
absolutely.
I know exactly how. I can understand totally where people feel. and also because I used to drive there, and it was easy to drive there. It was free to park, and you know, it was easy.
And even that was stopping towards the end. The permit parking was just creeping more and more and more in, wasn't it? Because you're right, you used to go, oh bloody hell, I'm 400 meters from the ground. That's a bit annoying. Park up and away you go. Then it was permit parking's coming in, so they were pushing you further out and everything like that. So yeah, we have about 3 or 4 options from over the Richmond Kew Gardens way to get in, which makes it a bit easier when train works or strikes or whatever's happening, so we can make our own way over there. So
yeah. And then it was like the bins. There was more bins being put out, wasn't there? So it's like the residents would put their bins out because that was a major deterrent.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
My granddad would just literally like go out and like throw the bin across the road, or he'd go bumper to bumper with the car in front, because he had like a Vauxhall Cavalier, and it was probably like, I don't know, like a Metro in front. It would like move. It's like, what are you doing, Granddad?
That's it. What are you doing? Nudge it. Yeah.
Bless it. Oh God, he was blind as a bat. I was surprised we ever got there in one piece. To be honest, we used to call him Loaded because he was quite well off. Yeah. Bless him. But it's all memories in it. And I think, unfortunately, the memories can't be taken to anywhere.
No.
But yeah.
Absolutely not. No, those are the memories. And like I say, they're what you share with your kids, your grandkids, and your friends and everything like that. Because we still talk about it. You know, people need to remember that today's bad days will be tomorrow's good days. We'll look back in 3 and 4 years' time and go, actually, it's not too bad, this, what we had, was it? And everything like that. Because that's what happens in life, isn't it? So
yeah, you look at things in retrospectively, isn't it? So it's like, I think, I know we talk about like favourite times and stuff, but, when you talk about, I know, Boys of '86 and stuff like that, it's like, in the period, it was like very, very close. You're obviously going for the title, and now we still revere a team that finished third.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
But you know what I mean? It's like, I remember talking to Stag a while ago when we won the Europa conference, and I said to him, we won the Europa. He went, yeah, okay, but it wasn't a couple of nights. I said, okay, all right, Stag, all right, mate. It's like maybe they'll stop talking about '86 now and they'll be talking about you guys. But it's true. I think, in 20, 30 years' time, you look back at this period of relative success, and when you look historically, it's like we've never done Europe 3 times in a row ever in our history. So
no,
yeah,
absolutely.
and I think when you're in it in the moment, you can't see the wood for the trees.
No,
when you look up
and I'm certainly for me, coming from my point, coming from the southwest and everything, people say to me, "Oh, do you think you win the Premiership?" No, straight away, no. Do you think you win a cup? Yeah, possibly. Yeah, could win a cup. I never had a conversation with anyone that I'd be in a European final and win it. Never had that conversation. Didn't even come into, no, I won't win the Premiership, but we could win a cup. Never did every year, from 1980 on until that one. And then, like you say, you're stood there. And for me, the best game was the semi-final, because that was realisation when we won it. I was more emotional there, even though I was like all the other thousands of us idiots crying all the time. You included, obviously, great video that tell you as well, mate. But why not and everything? Because it meant so much, didn't it? Getting there and everything. But yeah, the semi-final for me was like, oh my God, we're actually there. We're at a final. We're at a final. So yeah,
it's true. It's true when you think about that. It's just like, it's just, and I feel like Flo's just coming from school, and it's like she's 11, and I had to wait 42 years. She don't give a shit about us winning it. It's like always have that over me. It's just amazing, isn't it? I think just to win once, and as you said, you're totally right. It's like if we wanted to pick a side for glory, we backed the wrong horse there for sure. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just, again, as a thank you, I think, for the loyal fan base, because you said you go there 4 hours or whatever each way, and there's 60,000 at the stadium, and mental. And it's
thousands that feet in the park over Prague. The part that was going to be awful and it's going to be waterlogged and everything was going to go wrong, and it turned out to be just as good there, give or take, as at the stadium. So fair play to the people who just came out and went, I ain't got a ticket, I'm just going to go and be there. So
it was mental, wasn't it? Holly was out there, and and it was annoying because it's like every time like something happened, it was like they said, "Oh, you can go out and help." I was like, but then I had this conference at work. It's it was the worst. Yeah, it was the worst week of my life. Particularly, I had like my West Ham photo. I had like my West Ham logo on my phone. And I'm sitting there talking to people, and they're like, "Why are you here? Why are you selling me stuff? Why are you here?" Yeah, I know. But you're the same. If someone says anything from you, are you available anytime? And up past May to sort of late, early August, you're okay. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Never for once did I think we're going to be in like June and
yeah, the final, going to absolutely. But times change, Russ, don't they, for people? Like this is what I say to people, because people say to me, "Oh, you go all the time." But it could change. Grandchildren could come along. That
Yep.
could change everything. Do you know what I mean? Financial circumstances. Well, everything could change. So I always say that to people. Like, I'm going to go forever. I hope you do. But things change. Life changes. Your priorities have to change sometimes. At the moment, I'm very lucky. It works and it works for me. But it could change, like you say. But yeah, happy to go for the ride at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy the ride. I mean, Anton's the same. Anton's got a season ticket. I don't think he's been down 2 games this season, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, it's I mean, same as Holly. Holly's got a season ticket, but she's got Mia, so she ain't going to go for a while. So
exactly.
It's just unfortunately the way you said life takes over sometimes. But you know, anyway, let's talk about your Hammers 11. So as I said, everyone we get on the channel, players, fans, they put together their 11. As you said, you've been a fan for many a year. And the only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. Because if you don't put that rule in, everyone's going to pick Bobby Moore, you know, Brooking. I never saw any of them play. I never saw Dev play. You know, so I never saw. So they weren't in my team. But you know, if I was picking a greatest team, of course they would be in there. So that's what we try and do. It doesn't have to be the best team. It's your team, Doddsy. It's the Doddsy 11. It's the 11 that I've had countless DMs from people saying, "Oh, you should get Doddsy on. It'd be it'd be really interesting." So there we go. Probably even more so than some ex-players. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Thank you. That's very kind. That's very kind. They're clearly not right in the head if they want to hear about it.
If I'm saying some player, I'm talking about like Gary Breen. And
let's not go mad. Let's
not go crazy. It's not Paladicanio, but it's Gary Breen, Wayne Quinn. So you know what I mean?
I'll take that company.
Scott Mean. Anyway, Scott Mean, the guy we bought for broken leg. Do you remember?
Yeah. God almighty.
So dodgy.
How many of those have we bought?
Well, hopefully not this guy from Bayer Leverkusen, Bonifaci, because he's out till April. So anyway, hopefully.
There's one. Bye. That's the West Ham way.
Yeah, exactly. Won't play until the probably new manager comes in. Perfect. Right. Okay. So it's your 11, mate. It's your 11.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
That's the open brief.
I did find it, like I say, it's only players that I've actually seen play live. So actually, you know, at a ground and everything. I did find it quite difficult. I've got on my left here a load of players that I've written down that I'm looking at even now and thinking, why aren't they in my team? So I've done it from the people that they really give me my West Ham feeling. And the first one's in goal is Ludo McCloskey.
Yeah, let's
for
start
me,
with
Ludo. Yeah. So Ludo to me was, along with Rob Green and Mervyn Day. So Mervyn Day would be the telly, your best 11. If I had my best 11 for me, Mervyn Day growing up and watching them on the telly and stuff. But Ludo was the one that I first watched and thought, wow, I like it. He seemed to get everything. And it goes on to Kufal and Soucek, doesn't it? He seems to get everything that is West Ham.
Yeah.
To me, Ludo had no affiliation with West Ham, came and played for us and thought, I am now Mr. West Ham, and became, you know, to this day, a legend. You know, anyone who gets a song sung about him still now, and he hasn't played for us for what, 30 years?
Yeah.
So something like that takes some doing. So yeah, easy choice in goal, Ludo McCloskey.
Yes, yeah, and it's obviously you talk about the travelling fans and stuff like that, and I remember I think it was German or someone from the Swedish Hammers, Scandinavian Hammers, was saying that when they used to do their they used to do like a special night at the ground at Upton Park, where you know they'd stay with the hotel and they'd usually get a player would come, and Ludo came and wouldn't leave for about 3 or 4 hours, just signing everything. And even when we did the lended the promotion season, like Christmas do, like 2 years ago, Ludo was just like there with his wife. It was so funny because she was like, she didn't remember. It was a long time since she probably was involved in these sort of discussions. So he was there for ages, Ludo. Old Loopy Lou.
It just sums him up as a person as well, doesn't it? That's what you felt. What you saw is what you got. He was just a nice human being, I think. So.
He was. And his son used to play, was in the same year as me at school, but he was at the posh school and I was at the comp. And when we used to play him, obviously, it was Martin. He was about the same size as Ludo. I think he used to play up front. and obviously Ludo would be like watching his son play, and it was like
Yeah.
all the kids were like West Ham fans, like
Yeah.
it's Ludo. That's probably how they won so many games because everyone was too busy preoccupied looking at the actual footballer.
Watching that. So.
Oh, Loopy Lou. Right. And he obviously used to drive the Skoda, didn't he? He had a deal with Skoda.
That's right.
Where everyone else had a deal with Ford. But anyway.
Yeah.
Right. He'll go in goal. Defence. Who are you going to start with in defence?
Okay, so I won't. So although I have got them in positions as such, it became very difficult because it's a left. They're both left backs, but I put them both one left and one right. That's Julian Dix.
Yeah.
So Julian Dix. Wow. Like I said to you, that day at Middlesbrough. So for me, Julian, still to this day, and I still see him on Twitter with his family and stuff like that. He's just down to earth. Another person who came from Birmingham area, I believe, but just knew what being West Ham was all about. He knew what he had to do every week for West Ham. Was he the most talented player in his view? Probably not. In my view, he was brilliant. But he just, to me, summed up why I supported West Ham, because it was do or die. We weren't going to win everything, but I'll tell you what, we're going to leave everything out on that pitch. So yeah, for me, Julian Dix. Yeah, I love Julian.
And he's just like he's like one of those. And again, I mentioned the other day to Trevor, he's like we're talking about him, and he's like nowadays. I mean, as a left back, he would. Well, back in the day, he would get the crowd going just from left back, and it's like I never saw. I didn't think Aaron Cresswell could do that, or any left back nowadays, or maybe Emerson, but it's different type. Julian would clatter into someone if the crowd had gone down, and everyone would be up with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he got the crowd going, and that's what you want, isn't it? And that's again what we you love, isn't it, and everything. Because like I say, sometimes the football ain't the best, but they just know. I mean, I haven't put him in my team. John Moncur was another one.
Yeah,
John Moncur, when he played for us, would just go out and think, we ain't winning this, so I'm going to smash a few players up, and the crowd would just be on their toes and going for it, wouldn't they? So
I'm pretty sure when we interviewed, I think it was Hutch. I think we're sure when we interviewed Hutch. He asked Julian for advice about getting on the West Ham fan side, and he just went, if it's going quiet, just clatter into someone. And it was like, and he did that. And I think he almost got sent off against Robbie Savage or something like that. I can't remember the player, but yeah, it was like that was the advice. Just clatter into someone, the fans will love you.
Just take someone and they'll love you forever.
Exactly. Right. Okay. So who's going to be the other left back, which will play on the right?
Well, it is Cresswell. So it's the Cresswell from about 2 years ago and before. So obviously, Cress is coming to the end of his career, and I really want him to go out on a high. Because I think at the moment, like I say, it's with him allegedly, not turning up for the training and stuff like that. I don't want it to go that way. But Cresswell has absolutely owned that spot and has played a massive part in everything. I think from the background, with all the players, guiding them and having the fun, Cresswell seems a bit of a character as well, and even on the pitch. And when he was at his best, he was up there with most people as a left back. So Cresswell for me, and he's probably the only, I think looking at it, he's the only one, maybe two, that gets into my team from the current one. So I don't want anyone to think, not that they will, don't care, it's my team. Kudos, Paqueta, my God, Alvarez, all of these lot. Absolutely. So that you won't find many of those in there at the moment, but they are absolutely, I can see them really fitting in. Some of the stuff Paqueta does it's a cheat code on FIFA, isn't it? It's an absolute cheat code. But yeah, Cresswell for me, when he was in his pomp, really was someone that I used to love and go and watch. And like I said to you, when it comes to defenders, I've got loads that are over there on that other piece of paper thinking, God, I could fit them in easy. But yeah, Cresswell and Julian, the two left.
And I think Cress as well. I think you're right. I've been thinking about it. 9 years. Again in football, in modern football, we say about Mark Noble, but in modern football, you don't get those players who have a prolonged career in one club. And he came from Ipswich. And
10 years he's been with us.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? Absolutely. Yeah. And obviously, after Noble, he's got the most amount of Premier League appearances for us. So, which will probably stay for a long time at the moment because it would have been Deck. Right, crazy, nice. I like that. Okay, who's next in the defence?
So for a lot of people, Winston Reid. How can I not put Winston Reid in there? Scored that Upton Park on that fateful day, and he put the ball in the Pikey's net. So, and we've got a song for him. And of course, I've got a bit of affiliation with New Zealand as well. But I thought Winston Reid was the ultimate professional. I think he would train well. But out on that pitch, he just gave his all. And to score those 2 goals, that goes in my history as well, because that's just brilliant. Especially that last night at Upton Park as well.
Yeah.
So Winston Reid, great player. other ones, like you say, there's one more we've got a name, but people like Tompkins. I really love Tompkins as
Yep.
well, and still playing and going strong, isn't he? So it's that kind of player that comes up through with us for quite a few years.
Mark
And
Keller.
like I say, yeah, and like I say, Winston Reid, was there for a good 10, 11 years as well.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So a longevity is there as well. But
I remember when
he
he signed, because it was all a big sort of excitement, weren't it? We're signing a World Cup star from 2010. World Cup.
Right,
Brilliant. Who are we going to get? We're going to get Cannavaro. We're going to get, some Argentinian. No, we're going to get this guy from New Zealand. It's like, what? Okay. Who plays in Denmark?
That's right, yeah. It's like, oh, great.
Yeah, and again, injury played a massive part in his. He would have, he probably wouldn't have, if he wasn't injured, he would have probably gone to somewhere else, in all honesty, because he was that good at that time, wasn't he? Particularly in the Championship era.
He was just under a couple of 100 appearances, 200, still reasonable and everything. But like you say, you think he played a lot more, but actually injury and everything curtailed him, didn't it? So
he did. Yeah. Okay, who's gonna partner then?
James Collins, Ginger Pelly.
Oh, Ginge, what a man!
I think I see him in the away end more than I see myself on the video.
Yes.
He's just out there, isn't he? So again, a lot of it is about the person behind. He's humble. He took to West Ham, so you could see when he went to Villa and he came back, he knew that he'd had a good time at Villa and played really well, but he was happy to be home. He classes it, and the name escapes me now, who he signed with, who was just as good with him as well. Come on.
Gabs, wasn't it? Well, we signed Gabs, didn't we?
Yeah, Gabs. So another great person. They both came in, fitted him really well. And he left nothing on the pitch, did he? And I love the videos that they do now when they get the new players in, and James Collins is there just to give them that little bit of, this is what it's about. This is what it's about to be West Ham.
Yeah.
I know Nose is Mr. West Ham, but James Collins, from coming from nowhere near West Ham to do what he did, he's as much to me as Mark was.
Yeah, you're totally right, and I think that's a really good point. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, obviously, by the time this come out, it'll have already happened. But I'm pretty sure they're booked to do a Ironcast very soon. So yes, I wonder who they're going to be interviewing. I think that's really good, and it's taken them 10 years to decide they should do a podcast, which is ridiculous, isn't it? But yeah, Chris and Ginge, it's great. I love that. He's always like, I think you're going to do well because you've got that, and you're right. You're here. You've got Ludo, you've got, I'd say, Dixie and Collins. You've got three, and even Cress. You got three, even Reed actually. None of them round these parts, none of them are towners, as our friend would say.
Yes, it's not County Townland would say.
I mean, someone like Ginge still lives around here. You know what I mean? Mental.
They're as much West Ham as I'll ever be. Do you know what I mean? And it's in their heart, and you can see it's in their families as well. So
definitely with the families as well. Yes, for sure. Right. Okay. Let's should we go to midfield?
Oh, yes. Okay, here we go. To me, it's not controversial. He picked up the European trophy, so Declan Rice just goes straight in the middle of my team. Goes straight in. So I get it. And obviously, when I go and watch him away, I think we should be nicer to him now because he keeps on letting us beat him. That's twice we've beaten him now. He's been very kind. Nice. He's been very kind to us, isn't he? So, yeah, he came through the ranks as such. I know he's a Chelsea fan. I know his family grew up Chelsea season tickets and all of that, right? And he came through the ranks. And this is a bit like we said earlier in the chat and everything. We need to remember sometimes that they're not West Ham fans, all of them. And I think he always still will be at heart. He will always have West Ham in his, but he's gone on to do whatever he's going to do and everything. But sometimes, you take Kidderminster. He came on and single-handedly won that game for us. And that's the kind of guy that he was. He lifted the European trophy. He would be my captain. Do I hope he goes on to do anything? Not particularly. I don't boo him when he comes back. I don't clap him when he comes back and everything. Do I take delight when we win? Hell yes. Oh,
yeah, Christ, of course you do, yeah.
Because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Because normally when players come back, they haunt us, don't they? It's not the other way. So, yeah, Declan for me goes straight in the middle. No problem.
Yeah. I've still got a £50 Callingtown Len picture of him. He's in a box. That was the wisest purchase ever, wasn't it? Just kissing the trophy. Great, thanks. That was Anton's Christmas. That was Anton's birthday present. But I didn't give it to him. Instead, I got him tickets to the Paolo night. But yeah, but you're right. And I think, again, we talk about looking back. And I think when we look back in 20 years' time to someone who made 250 appearances for us, who was one of hopefully a lot more captains to lift trophies at West Ham, he'll always go down in history as that, and And there was a time when I think that he dragged us up by the shoe, by the tailcoat sometimes, and he embodied what it was to be a West Ham player. And I mean there was maybe I think people are always, because they move on. And you're right. I think some people, again, it's a utopian view of football that you play for your local team and that's what you do. But it's their job. So it's as much as we assume Jared Bowen's not going to be here forever. I'm sorry, guys, but he's not going to be here forever. Neither is Kudus, and so it's about having the next one lined up. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Who's next? We've got Rice, and who's next?
Mark Noble.
Nobes,
So, So Mark Noble was always Laura, my daughter's favourite player as well. That was the one when she went to. So I used to also take her every year to the Christmas parties. Dump her into the Christmas party and have to sit like a sad old parent out in the old hotel at the Upton Park and everything like that. And she'd come back and go, I got Tevez and Mascherano and Noble's signature. And I go, oh, great. I just sat in the bar and had a beer. Thanks for that all the way up. So Mark Noble, along with Matty Everton, because he was born in Truro. Matty Everton was always a good one for Lozzie as well. She liked him. But Mark Noble and Cambridge, I actually bumped into Mark Noble. He was sat in his Range Rover, whatever it was, and everything like that. And I just went, hello. I thought, I ain't going to just... And he ran down the window. It's cold out here, fella, isn't it? I said, yeah, it's bloody freezing. He goes, where you come from? Taunton. Jesus Christ, you're nuts, aren't you? And you could just see he was down to earth. He talked to me like a human being, not even like a fan and everything. And he always had time. And I know a few people have an issue with him coming on going on and taking on the intruder on the pitch and everything. But what is it? Something like 480 odd games played for us. For nearly 20 years, and he's still in the background keeping it going. So no problems with Mark Noble.
He is brilliant in his role. He is brilliant. It's like obviously I'm fortunate enough to do a lot of stuff for the 21s and 18s or 23s where we call him this week. And I sat at the back and he usually sits about 2 rows in front of me or a row in front of me. And he's brilliant because the 18s are fun because you have all the under 21s in the block next to us. And he's literally, all he does, he just literally ribs Callum Marshall the whole time. Cow. And you can see him, he's going, fuck off. Cow. And he's like, fuck off. And he'll tell me, yes. He's like, how's Josh playing? He's playing all right, thanks. And then it'll be him and little Patrick Kelly, like two little Irish boys. Yeah. Cow. And literally the whole time. It's brilliant. But as I said, we've obviously had the likes of Mark Phillips on, we've had Robbo on and stuff like that. And he is literally at Chadwell Heath every day. And he sometimes puts his boots on and goes and does training sessions. He knows, and that's what we need for the next for this. We talk about the pathway. That's what we need. We need someone that intrinsically involved within the academy who has Moyes' ear or has the next manager's ear, whoever's because there will be a new manager eventually. So that's great. And
absolutely.
Yeah,
get those youngsters coming through. That's what he's there for.
That's what he's there for, and you can see there's method in the not madness, but you can see there's method. We're putting a lot of these players now. We've signed them up to contract deals. Patrick Kelly signed a new deal. We had Ezra. I mean, Bayern Munich were after Ezra, and we've got him on a pro deal now. And hopefully we'll get Callum sorted, and we'll get Barmer sorted as well. And that's what we need to do. And just
absolutely.
We don't, and I think we're in good stead there. Right, Rice and Nobes, who's next?
Well, funny we talk about the youth, because I went and watched this guy in the Youth Cup final, and that's Joe Cole. I kid you not, the man sent the crowd the wrong way. Brilliant. He hit a ball and just, what a player. What a player. There's a few that have left our club that I was absolutely gutted, and Joe Cole was one of them. And Mourinho absolutely destroyed that guy to a degree, because he is just what a player. He is Paqueta and kudos for anybody who's under the age of, say, 30, 35, 40, who doesn't know. He is kudos and Paqueta rolled into one. Maybe not with the battling skills. He would put his foot in, but not like Paqueta does, because Paqueta's brilliant at that. But Joe Cole, just some of the stuff he did back then was just phenomenal.
He was,
what a player.
Yeah, and it'd be incredible. We had like social media back then, because like we all knew we didn't, you know, we saw tapes of him playing in the Milk Cup or whatever, and when he was like 13 or 14, we thought, you know, nowadays he'd be on YouTube and he was 10, you know, and I remember when we had him on, he was, I mean, he's brilliant. Joe was fantastic, you know, absolutely diamond geezer, and you know, it was funny because the next day we had another one of Len's nights, and Seb was at Len's night, and we took a picture and sent it to Joe, and he was like, "Oh my god, it's like legend. I love Seb, you know, old Shem." But we were talking, and it was just like, you know, you think about it, you know, nowadays with social media, like the pressure of finding out, like, you know, we're talking about Ibrahim Osman at the moment, you know, and it's like this guy that we all think we know because we've seen a few YouTube bits about him, and it's like he's like the pressure I had when I was 16 was like nowadays was ridiculous. You know, he felt, you know, we signed him on the pitch. You know, you got the little crappy table out, didn't we? And signed him on the pitch.
Signed him, where you go and everything. So it was a phenomenal. Like he just took that. You know, it's what we won the last year, wasn't it? The same cup. We haven't won it since then. But he was just, and don't get me wrong, the whole of those youth, you know, even Lampard and stuff and Carrick. You know, I still think, as much as I love Joe Cole, I think Carrick was technically was probably the better player and everything like that. But Joe was the most skillful, and Joe just got you off your seat.
Joe was like, you're right, a crowd pleaser. Just you know, we love it. We do love, as much as we do love a Billy Bonds, a battler, we love a Trevor Brooking as well. So, and Joe was that. And as you said, anyone of a certain vintage who obviously younger fans was, you know, he was brilliant, and he was British as well. He was English, so he was like the next Paul Gascoigne at the time. Loved him. All right, who's next? I'm loving this. Rich.
Okay, right. This is where I started to cross out, put them back in. But so Lanzini.
Oh, nice.
So Lanzini. So still glad we didn't really get the chance to say goodbye to him properly, like we should do. Same with Dawson, really. Some of these players really deserve the send off because of what they did for us. But Lanzini again. Some of those goals are outrageous, and in the COVID time, he just came into his own. It was triangle football, just superb football. It really, one of our bargain buys of the time. I don't know exactly how much we paid for him, but it wasn't much, was it? And everything like that at the time. And Lanzini for me. Again, another guy. When you get a song, I said it earlier on. If you get a song, you're doing something right. You are doing something right. And gutted when he went, but I think it was the right time. I think, like Prezi, it just come to the time where it was time to say, we've still got those memories now. We still know the brilliant Lanzini that we all love and everything like that. And again, he loved us, didn't he? He loved us.
Yeah. So, and it's funny, so obviously he came in with Payet, you know, at the same time, that sort of random summer where he seems to just buy loads of players, and a lot of them were hits, some were misses as well, like Nikica Jelavic and stuff. But it was him, and he was almost like a little bit under the cloud because Payet was doing all the stuff, and it was really interesting. I mean, but I think we had one of the video guys at the time, I think it was Lloyd. They would take pictures, like do the training videos. This was like really early on when they did these sort of sessions, and Lanzini was the one who had a better free kick percentage than Payet.
Right.
But obviously Payet was Payet, so Payet would get the nod to take him. So and obviously then he got injured, didn't he? And then he came back, and I think he came back, and then he was like, I always felt that he played better when he had someone of his talent with him. I don't think he could do it with a team of normal people, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. He needed those other people around him. A bit like kudos for Keta and Bowen to agree at the moment and everything like that. Alvarez in the middle. They seem to Emerson seems to read what Keta and that lot are going to do. They work well together, and that was the same in Lanzini at that time, wasn't it? And everything.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Good player. Yeah, and again, you know, there's certain things. You know, Reed will have that goal, and Lanzini will always have that goal. You know,
absolutely.
No one has to say it was against. He has that goal. We all know. It's like when you see when we have like Pedro on, and he's like, we're talking about the goal, and he went, "Oh, do you mean the goal?" Well, yeah, we didn't. You know what we're talking about.
You don't even have to name it, do you? And as soon as you say Lanzini, that goal comes into your head, doesn't it? And
exactly,
like
and just the shirt off and everything. So that's all good. Right, up front.
Well, here we go. So Tevez, Payet, and people like that. It's going to be bizarre that I haven't got them in my team. That's the ones that I've toyed with, like I said, because Carlos Tevez, for us people down in the southwest, to absolutely do what he did and everything like that, he'll be a legend forever. But I've gone with Andy Carroll and Di Canio up front. So Andy Carroll first.
Yeah, I saw Andy Carroll first.
So Andy Carroll is just one of the lads, isn't he? So what I liked about Andy Carroll, what summed up Andy Carroll for me, is he got the West Ham way as well to a degree, was when he came on against Man United, we were defending the corner and he just smashed all the Man United players all over the place. The overhead volley goes down to me as one of the top 10 goals that we've ever scored. And he just loved it, didn't he? And again, in Europe, been very lucky to bump into him a couple of times. And like Ginger Pelly, he's just become one of the West Ham family.
Yeah.
And I know he's had his troubles, like we all have troubles, like that. But that's Carroll. That's what makes him and everything. To me, he, because of his social life, probably like Machiavelli, never reached the heights that he could. I think Andy Carroll in his pomp is one of the best strikers is going there. Now, I would put Dean Ashton ahead of him, but Dean, through injury, didn't play hardly any games for us. I think it's just sub of 40, 45 games for us because of injury or something like that. But Dean Ashton had the potential to become one of the all-time great strikers. Hands down. And like I say, I've got the list. I've got the list in front of me, of all the players that I could put. And it's just weird because we're coming towards the end. But midfield: Martin Allen, Carrick, Pyatt, Ian Bishop, Scott Parker. Scott Parker just drove the team.
Scott Parker, I used to see crawl out of Upton Park
with his knees knackered, his legs knackered. Like I said to you, John Moncur, Matthew Everton, Kudus Paqueta. But one which will surprise a few people, is not in the team, but it's Liam Brady. Because I was at the game when Liam Brady scored a goal against Wolves. He ran towards the West Ham crowd, and the West Ham crowd were running towards him, and he literally stopped and shit himself. Now, Liam Brady, we didn't get him at his best, but he was still brilliant. He was still brilliant. And I saw him, I was lucky to see him 20, 30 times. What a player that we got there. But yeah, so digress. But there's so many of those players there. Steve Potts in the defence, Tompkins, Alvin Martin, Kufal, Vazte, Trevor Morley, and of course, Frank and Tony Cottee. But I only really saw Frank and Tony three times. Yeah. So I thought, better not put those in. But they're all great players. There's so many. It was a hard task. When you said to do it, I thought, oh yeah, that'll be easy.
It's not. It's really hard, isn't it? Yeah.
Very hard.
It's really hard.
And I know people quite rightly will go, bah, what are you going on about? And I totally get it and everything because there's just hundreds of players.
That's why it's your Hammers 11. That's the idea. It's yours.
Yeah.
Because there's players which mean something to you, and it might not even be necessarily on the pitch. As you said, you see James quite a bit, or doing the tour, the European stuff. Same as Andy. Andy. The thing about Andy Carroll is I love a player who commands at least two defenders on him, because it means there must be some space somewhere. Thing is, we never really used that space particularly well. He did. When he was on it, he was unplayable.
Yeah, unplayable. Loved him. Absolutely unplayable. And like I say, I had a bit about him as well. If he needed to rough it up a little bit, he'd get piling in and everything like that. So
he wouldn't have, and it's like, obviously we talk about the Bristol City game and particularly the London Stadium tie. He wouldn't have taken no shit from them lot.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like like Cameron Pring or whatever like that. He would have gone right into one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just, they were all young lads, really, with the Bristol City lot.
Yeah.
And it was just, you needed him or Noble or Kevin Nolan or someone like that, just to have put something on one of them.
Yeah, just get in there, get stuck in. You ain't doing this to us. This isn't what you did.
And I said, I think we're too nice. We're too nice at West Ham. We're not nasty, and I know with VAR and stuff, it's a bit difficult now. But there's ways and means of doing things, and dark arts. Right, so let's talk about Paolo, because he's the last piece of the pie.
Wow, what is that? Again, I think he. Do you know what? He only did over about 120 games.
Yes, exactly,
something like that. So he wasn't there. But what a difference he made in those 120. Did I used to be one of the fans screaming at him as he was lying on the pitch, thumping the ground up a bit, in the other half as the ball came back towards him? Am I going to claim I was there for the famous goal? No, because I can't remember if I was or not. So many games and everything. But he was just a genius. He was just a genius. Some of the stuff, again, it's what Paqueta and Kudus are starting to do. He was light years ahead of his time. He was absolutely, fit as, wasn't he? Fitness fanatic, and did everything the right way and demanded that of everybody else. And I know it's weird because he ended up in the team that obviously didn't do so well, along with Joe Cole and stuff like that. But to say you've seen Di Canio is to say you've seen one of the greats of West Ham. There's no two ways about it. And I think, for him to be at the stadium on that last day was fitting as well and everything like that. So, Paolo Di Canio goes in there for me, hands down. What a player.
Yeah.
What a player.
I mean, obviously we had Ian's night the other, a couple of months ago in the summer with Tony at Brentwood and Di Canio was there, and you can't. Me and Anton, so I got him the ticket for his birthday, and you can't sort of fake. You can fake being like a fan. You can because you could, but you can. But we're all old enough of the tooth. You can see through it.
Of course you can.
The love he has for the club is you could it oozed out of him. It was like, as I said, and he was just so classy about it. And it was the Brentwood Centre. There was 800 overweight 40-year-old men in there. It was moist. It was a moist. It was during the summer. So very moist. Tony Cotty, bless him, was down to a shirt and it was wringing wet. Paolo was 3-piece suit, not a bead of sweat on him. Immaculate. They don't make them like that anymore. No. And he had that. You talk about sort of like you mentioned, like people like Monks and Dixie and people like that who are a bit crazy and get stuck in. And then you talk about people like Joe Cole, who's skillful and silky, and Lanzini. And he was the antithesis. He was the Venn diagram. He was. I've always categorized West Ham fans, West Ham players, the good ones, as either a Billy Bonds player or a Brooklyn player. And when you get someone in the middle, they're special. And he fitted in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely did. He had it all, didn't he? He had it all. And, like I say, if Soccer AM was around, which it probably was to a degree, he would have just taken up that. They do that clip about showboating. Him and Joe Cole, they could
Joe was on every week.
Week after week, couldn't they?
I was on it once. I was on it as on a third eye. We played Nottingham Forest in an FA Cup game. We won 3-2. I think Defoe scored. And I told Joe, because Joe scored as well, and I'd already fucked up the announcement because my voice broke halfway through doing because I ran out of air, and then that was one story. But then the camera on BBC, it was on BBC, panned up, and because I had the scoreboard underneath my box, and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm on telly!" And I started dancing, and then and then someone put it as a third eye, and then the next week, Tubes phoned me up. And I ended up being the stranger on the sofa, which was a segment they did back in the day with Tim Lovejoy and Helen Chamberlain. Yeah. So I always remember that. Just like third eye. Oh, brilliant. Right, let's get his team up. Let's get the Doddsy 11 up. Let's if I can find the right button. There we go. I'll tell you what, I'll be honest, it's not what I predicted. But I like it. I
think the common theme is people who give a shit about West Ham.
Yes.
And I didn't pick it on that basis. But when I looked at it, I thought, actually, they all give a shit about West Ham. They all
by proxy, exactly.
Yes, absolutely. So, good team. Yeah, not a bad team. Not a bad team. Would they have won everything? Probably not. But
probably not.
They're my team.
They'd try on the pitch, wouldn't they? They'd leave it on the pitch. And to be fair, if you put this up on Twitter, Nick would have gone absolutely apeshit because you're not playing a proper right winger. But don't matter.
He's gone nuts. Doddsy does it. He goes tactics. He doesn't know tactics.
Tactics. The man knows nothing. He's gone for a big lad up front. Oh, I love it. No, it's very good, man. Dodsy's been an absolute pleasure, my friend. Thank you
for having me on board.
Absolute pleasure. I'm glad we finally got you on. Busy week for you next week. Bournemouth fan, but it's about 16 hours of driving the next week.
Yeah, all comes back thick and fast, doesn't it? But well worth it. And
it does.
Hopefully keep up in that top 6.
A lot of games in February. There's a lot of games.
Yeah.
Short month, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then back in the old Europe. Back in the Europe for the last 16.
Looking forward to that already.
Be good. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share all that stuff. Follow Doddsy on Twitter if you're not already. Let's get him viral. No, let's get
me viral rather than viral.
And until next time, myself and Doddsy, take care. Stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and come on, you bloody irons. Have a great weekend, everyone. West Ham can't win this weekend, that's for sure. Give it next week. Take care.